Story number 1.
The roommate. When Claire moved to the city for college, she was relieved to find a cheap apartment near campus. It was small, a little old, but cozy enough. The only downside? She had to share it. Her roommate Hannah was quiet and rarely home. She was a med student, constantly at the hospital or buried in her books. They barely spoke, but that was fine. Claire liked the space. But soon, strange things started happening. Doors left open when she swore she'd closed them. Food missing from the fridge, the shower running in the middle of the night. At first, she assumed it was Hannah. But when she casually brought it up, Hannah frowned. "I thought you were the one doing that." Claire laughed it off. "Guess we're both forgetful." But something about the way Hannah's face paled made her uneasy. One night, Claire woke up to a creaking sound. She lay still, barely breathing. The noise was coming from the hallway. Footsteps, slow, deliberate. Her bedroom door was slightly open, and through the gap she saw a shadow move past. She tensed. Was Hannah home? The footsteps faded toward Hannah's room. Then, silence. The next morning, Hannah looked exhausted. "Did you get up last night?" she asked. Claire shook her head. Hannah's face went blank. I locked my door last night," she whispered. A cold wave of fear washed over Claire. If neither of them had been walking around, then who was? Things got worse. Claire started waking up to the feeling of being watched. Hannah, too, looked more paranoid, double-checking locks, keeping the hallway light on at night. One evening, Claire came home early from class and found Hannah standing in front of her bedroom door, completely still. "What's wrong?" Claire asked. Hannah didn't answer. She just pointed. Claire turned and felt her stomach drop. There were fingerprints on the inside of her bedroom door, like someone had been pressing their hands against it, from inside. That night, they made a decision. They were leaving. Hannah stayed at a friend's place while Claire packed their things. She was almost done when she heard it, a soft rustling, coming from inside her closet. Her heart pounded. Slowly, she reached for the door, hands shaking, and yanked it open. Nothing. Just clothes. She exhaled, laughing nervously. Paranoia. That's all it was. Then, something breathed behind her. Claire froze. A reflection in the closet mirror caught her eye, and she saw it. A figure, standing in the corner of the room, tall, gaunt, grinning. Claire screamed, spun around. Nothing was there. She ran, left everything behind, and never went back. The landlord later called, saying the apartment had been abandoned for years before they moved in. "No one's lived there since the last tenant," he said. "What happened to them?" Claire asked. A pause. "They disappeared." To this day, Claire never sleeps with her closet door open, because sometimes, in the dark, she swears she can still hear it. The sound of breathing, right behind her.
Story number 2.
The man in the attic. Ethan never believed in ghosts. When he found an old house for rent at a ridiculously low price, he didn't ask questions. He just signed the lease and moved in. It was quiet, a little creaky, but nothing out of the ordinary. At least, not at first. Then he started hearing the noises. It always happened late at night. Soft thumps, almost like footsteps coming from above. The attic. But the landlord had told him the attic was empty, just a sealed-off crawl space. So who, or what, was moving up there? One night, Ethan decided to investigate. Armed with a flashlight, he climbed onto a chair and pushed at the attic hatch in the ceiling. It was heavier than he expected, like something was pressing down on it. Finally, with a groan, it gave way. A rush of stale, cold air hit him as he shined his flashlight into the darkness. Dust, wooden beams, cobwebs, nothing unusual. But then, something moved. At the far end of the attic, just beyond the flashlight's reach, Ethan saw it. A figure, crouched, watching him. It had been there the whole time. Ethan yanked the hatch shut and locked it. He barely slept that night. The next day, he called the landlord. "I think someone's living in the attic," Ethan said, trying to keep his voice steady. The landlord was silent for a long moment. Then he sighed. I was hoping you wouldn't notice. Ethan's blood ran cold. What? There was an old tenant, the landlord admitted. Lived there alone for years. The neighbors said he went crazy. One day he just disappeared. We never found a body. Ethan felt sick. So you're telling me, what? His ghost is up there? The landlord cleared his throat. No, no, not a ghost. We think he just never left. That night, Ethan barricaded the attic hatch. He tried to ignore the scraping sounds coming from above, the whispering, the quiet, breathy laughter. But when he woke up the next morning, something made his skin crawl. The attic hatch was open, and on the floor beneath it, written in the dust, "I can hear you." Ethan left that day and never went back. The house is still for rent, but if you move in, just remember, you're not alone.
Story number 3.
The elevator game. Mia had always been fascinated by urban legends. When she read about the elevator game, she thought it was just another creepy internet story, a ritual that, if done correctly, would take you to another world. It was simple. Enter an elevator alone in a building with at least 10 floors. Press the buttons in a specific sequence. On the 5th floor, a woman might enter. Do not speak to her. If you reach the 10th floor instead of the 1st, the game has worked. You will have entered the other world. Mia didn't believe in it. But one night, when she was alone in her apartment building, she decided to try, just for fun. The building had exactly 10 floors. At 2 a.m., she stepped into the elevator and pressed the sequence. 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, 5. Her heart pounded as the elevator descended and then began rising again. On the 5th floor, the doors slid open, and someone stepped inside. It was a woman. Her hair was long, covering most of her face. Mia's stomach tightened. It was just a coincidence, right? She kept her gaze down. The elevator doors shut. Then the woman giggled. Low, breathy, right beside her ear. Mia's skin crawled. Don't look at her, don't speak. The elevator continued upward. Then, instead of stopping at the 1st floor, it went up to the 10th. The doors opened. Mia's breath caught in her throat. The hallway beyond the elevator wasn't her building anymore. The lights flickered, casting long, unnatural shadows. The air smelled of something rotten. And the worst part? The woman wasn't next to her anymore. Mia spun around. She was outside the elevator, smiling. Her face was wrong, too wide, too stretched, and her eyes, they weren't human. Mia slammed the button for the 1st floor, her fingers shaking. The doors wouldn't close. The woman stepped closer and closer. Mia pounded the button, whispering, "Please, please, please." Then the doors slid shut. The elevator lurched downward. Mia squeezed her eyes shut, heart racing. When the doors finally opened again, she was back in her building. Her hands were ice cold. The hallway looked normal. But as she stepped out, she noticed something that made her blood run cold. Her reflection in the elevator's metal walls. It was still inside, smiling at her. As the doors slid shut, she saw her reflection raise a hand and wave.